Hello, my name is Marcia, and welcome to Choice Boards that Drive Student Agency. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit more about choice boards that drive student agency and increase that student engagement. Thinking about going from compliance to engagement to ownership through just simple tasks like choice boards. Here's an example of a classroom setting. Everybody's doing the exact same thing at the exact same time, and there's really just good compliance going on. The kids are actively working, but there's no ownership of their learning yet. Here's another example of a classroom, and I want you to think about it. If you saw classroom A versus classroom B, which one really models the future of education? Compliance or ownership? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to really be talking about how to go from compliance to ownership by designing choice boards that actually work. We're going to explore choice boards, or I'm going to have you, even virtually, try your luck at designing a face and creating something with a choice board. Then we're going to go ahead and talk about the continuum. Everything we're going to showcase today has a system. That system really builds upon itself by really focusing in on how students can start with compliance and build up to student ownership. And I can't wait for that one. You guys are going to love it. Then we're going to talk about checklists versus choice boards. That's right. I know this is about choice boards, but I'm going to talk about how I actually embed choice boards right into a lesson or a unit or even project-based learning. So we're going to talk about how checklists help with choice boards. Next, what we're going to talk about is why choice boards matter. And this is a big one. This really does help us get to that student ownership elements. Next, we're going to talk about creating a choice board. Yes, we're going to go into Canva because I know most of my schools that I work with all have access to Canva. So we're going to build right inside of Canva, and I'm going to show you a couple other tools that along the way that can help with designing choice boards. Then we're going to talk about good examples and better examples, and maybe not so good examples of choice boards. So this is kind of fun. We'll kind of go through like what I look for when I'm helping teachers deploy choice boards in their classroom. And then we're going to finish up with, again, talking about those systems. It sounds like a lot, but we have 30 minutes together, so let's make the most of it. My name is Marcia Kish. I am a presenter, a keynote speaker, an author, and I am also an instructional coach. When I am not presenting, I am side by side with teachers right there inside the classroom. This really does help because everything I showcase to you works. You're going to see examples of real classrooms using choice boards, using checklists, and going from compliance to ownership. Like I said, I am an author of 2 amazing books, at least I think they're amazing, AI and the Classroom Starter Kit. And what this does is it talks about the really good AI tools. But in chapter 5 of the book, it goes through step by step on how to use AI to build checklists and choice boards and letting the students take ownership by utilizing AI to help work smarter, not harder, for the teachers. And then I also just created the student engagement by design. These are all the systems that we put into play that help teachers go from compliance to ownership to engagement. And in here, there's one whole section on student ownership and then another section talking about future ready skills. I will be giving a book away to anybody who registers. So if you go in and you register, you'll be entered for a chance to win one of my books. Also, here's the thing. Everybody wants the slides. Everybody wants extra resources. So if you go in and sign up, you can just ask for those resources. Our first challenge is we're going to experience. One of the things I'm going to ask you to do is you can, when I give you the directions, you can hit pause, try it out, and then I would love to see your end results. But here we go. Here's our first challenge, experiencing choice. Step 1, you're going to use this roll of face document. I know it sounds silly, but I've done it in professional development workshops and everybody just gets into it because they get to go in and try it out. So when you go in, you design your face. So you roll a die, and I have a die right here. If you don't have one, you can scan that. You roll a die. Your first roll is going to be the shape of your face. Your second role is going to be what kind of hair, then your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. It is a blast. This just introduces people to choice because guess what? If you roll a 1 and you don't like that hairstyle, you can pick another one. It's okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead, hit pause, put about 5 minutes on your clock, and I want you to go ahead and design your face using choice. Welcome back. If you have designed your face, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for taking that time to do that. You can now go in and you can upload it to our group Padlet. I really want you to go into this group Padlet, one, because you can put your cute face that you drew right there inside of it, take a photo, post it. But also, this group Padlet is going to be a place where I'm going to have sample choice boards, sample checklists, AI tools, and resources. So it kind of becomes a living, breathing document for anybody watching this video. So go ahead, grab that Padlet link. I have the QR code here and then the bit.ly link down here. Go ahead, you can grab that link and just jump right on in to that Padlet. Post your photo and or, of course, go ahead and explore those resources. All right, I'm glad you're back. Hopefully you paused me. Hopefully you went and you tried out those different Padlets and you uploaded your photos. I can't wait to see them. Now let's go right in talking about choice boards and what they look like. So here's a sample choice board. This is one that I created. This will be inside of that Padlet. So hopefully you got that link. If not, rewind, you'll be able to see it. What I do is when I'm designing a Padlet for my teachers and or during my workshops, what I do is I give a quick rubric. Look how basic my rubric is. What is your focus, your creativity, and how did you work as a team? And then I gave a spot for my comments. Now, my choice is reusable. All teachers think that if I make a choice board, oh my gosh, I have to have a rubric. I made a simple rubric. Oh my gosh, I had to make a new one every time. The answer is no. You can act, you can design, you can invent, you can modify. Those sound like higher order Bloom's verbs. They are, because if you really just think about it, we want to hit those higher order thinking skills. And if I put those thinking skills right inside of a choice board, I can use this for any unit, any topic, any grade level. Yes, first graders have used this choice board. I just simplified the text for those students. But it's great because it can always live and breathe right there in the classroom. Okay, the last time you acted out, can you choose another choice? Maybe you can invent. Maybe you can design. What I like about this choice board, it allows students the choice of paper, pencil, maybe not even writing anything down. They can record a video just as well as designing online. So just because it says act doesn't mean they can just act. Maybe they can record just like what I'm doing right now. A sample choice board that is very easy, very effective, and usable in all classrooms. Let's jump into another sample choice board. Here's an example choice board that I created that is differentiated. So it was a math classroom and the teacher wanted to implement a choice board. Now, hold on, time out. It doesn't mean that the choice board was given like this on the very first day of doing choice boards. We built up to this, and I'll explain that later. We don't go into 9 choices right away. We start very simple. But I want to show you how this sample choice board helped a 3rd grade team of teachers. 1, we differentiated. So the very first row is talking about things that they should be able to do at grade level. The second row is more of a challenge, like create a song, create a play, create a game. Oh, it's getting a little bit more challenging. And the third one is extension ideas. Find 5 ways to use decimals in a real world. Oh, find an article, teach somebody. But what I did also, because it is differentiated, I went to the point of adding point values. The point values is where I said 80 points. So if a student is at a higher level, they're going to have to do multiple different choices to earn 80 points. Or they could just jump down here and do create a video, and then maybe they could do play a quick little game. Okay, so these choices are really important. So our high flyers, hopefully they catch on like, okay, I can hit higher numbers and get to it quicker. But here's the key thing. Because I'm differentiating, I can easily say to the students, pick three. I get to help pick three for those students that need that little help and support. So I would keep them on level choice board activities. This has been one of our big wins, especially as we're trying to get to that more student ownership. Pick three or earn the number of points. It works. Give it a try. All right, here's some example choice boards in action. So I went through and I looked at all my photos and I saw what choice boards we were using. So this is a phonics choice board that I found on Canva. And what we did was we put it right inside of the elementary classroom. So the students, when they got to what we call a future ready studio, the students went out and they grabbed one of the choices and they decided to write words with water and a paintbrush. And I love it has a free choice. Here's another example. Here's a physical education bingo choice board. Now, we wanted our students to be able to go in and complete at least one activity in all of the different areas. So we had them do like a bingo, but they got to choose. They could go across, they could go in a diagonal, they could pick a different row. And what happened was like the students actually had that opportunity to go and collaborate and play. All right, now here's an 8th grade math choice board, and they were working on fractions. Yes, it was at a higher order fractions, but this is kind of the fraction choice board that we set up. So they went through, the students got to pick, and they're actually being the teacher out in the hallway, working through the different standards that were required to create that video. I love the products. There are different ones, like simple, easy ones. If you read through them, just question and answer articles, make a Quizlet. They're quilt, make a quilt. There's some really fun ones. A fraction ad, love it. Now here's a science choice board. And the students, when they got there, they just got done learning about natural disasters. So the teacher said, what choice of a natural disaster do you want? Choice number 1. And then you could create a video or podcast or create a PowerPoint. So the students could go in and choose which one did they want to do and which natural disaster. I love it. It's like a double choice within a choice. This is a social studies one. And what I like about this is it's a unit focused choice board. So the students just got done learning about Cold War. So they had their choice of which ones they wanted to do. I like this, but sometimes if you look at it, creating a timeline, is that really rigorous? Could we add something more to it? But if they do a couple of them, create a timeline and act like you're Harry Truman, now we're getting into it. Visual timeline, I like it. Or I love the newspaper headline. So maybe it's just not an isolated one. Maybe we think of it as a tic-tac-toe board for this social studies choice board. Here's an English choice board, and I like it because it's for a book study. So after the students get done reading a chapter and or chapters, they have to go in and do a character interview. Maybe they're doing an illustration, a book review, a timeline. There's so many great things that you could do. And again, this choice board was found on Canva. Don't worry, we're going to go press our luck and learn more about sample choice boards in Canva. Student ownership just doesn't happen. We have to have systems in play. So yes, we want our students to be able to take ownership like we saw in those photos where they're making choices, they're creating products, and they're doing it on their own. But we really need to focus in on how we get there. So this is part 2 of this presentation talking about systems. What systems are in play to make this successful? And that goes right along with my book, Student Engagement by Design, because it is all about the systems. So here we go. Let's start with one system. We talked about choice boards, but honestly, I start my teachers out with checklists. Checklists are a safety net. We go from a whole group classroom to now I'm going to give you a checklist that you are going to have directions. You're going to have clear expectations. You're going to have, so here's clear expectations, the directions that they need to do. They have sequencing, what they're going to do first, second, third, fourth. And here's the thing. This student got number 1 as independent practice where somebody else would have number 1 on digital content. So just to know that. They have pacing suggestions. So some of our teachers will put time amounts on the checklist, and that comes in really handy in the next system that we showcase. And then we also have accountability. What was your score? So we have going from, again, whole group to now I'm going to give you a checklist. Tell me, what did you do on that quick assessment? And then we're going to go into support. I love this because they get to work with a partner. You know those choice boards I was talking about? It lives and breathes right here inside of that Future Ready studio, working with a partner. That's where we get to apply the skills. So that choice board isn't separate. It becomes part of the system. And then, of course, we have differentiated activity. But in the beginning, as we're setting up these systems, everybody's doing the same thing, but now they're rotating, kind of like station rotation, through those different activities, teaching the students how to start take ownership of their learning. Okay, now as we go up the system, we practice, they rotated, they understand those learning studios. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build in some choice right inside of that checklist. This is a checklist I created for a team of 7th grade social studies teachers, and they were doing the principles of government. And yes, we deployed this checklist inside of a classroom just recently. So here we go. It has flexible pacing. Do you see how now my times are definitely part of the checklist? You have 12 minutes to do this activity. You have 6 minutes to watch this video. You have 10 minutes to start to pick your choice and work on your product. You also have differentiation. It doesn't look like there's differentiation here, but the teachers used an exit ticket the day before and put the students into groups. When they called them back for small group, they were differentiating what they were going to be talking about. And the students had differentiated choice in which, like, index card activity they were going to be doing. There is also online and offline choices. This is big. You could do Canva, you can illustrate a poster, or you can do a video. Again, online, offline choices. We have modality exposure. When the students were learning about the 7 principles of government, they were learning through the teacher with hands-on activities, tactile learning. This was audio visual. It was very engaging, so it really had all of those as well. And this is our kinesthetic learning, building upon prior knowledge, getting the students work and collaborate together. Wow, all those learning modalities that were hit when we deployed that checklist. And then, of course, differentiated small groups. So my small groups up here are differentiated. Like I just said, when they came back to the small group, the teacher called them back, pulled the high flyers first, then the struggling students, and then middle, and then on level. So that way they all had a differentiated lesson, still based on the 7 principles. What I really like about going from a very basic checklist where everybody rotates together to now where we're going into this, my projects become more rigorous. And that has been one of my number one complaints from teachers and principals is how do we increase that rigor inside the classroom? Well, not everybody's doing the same thing. That's good. Differentiated for sure. But now my products are just really applying what the students are learning. Huge win. Again, the systems all are in line to get us to this choice boards. Speaking of which, let's take a look at what we have now. Now we embedded a choice board that provides voice. You get to work with your partner. You get to choose. Has different learning modalities, again, within the choices. Online, offline products, differentiation. And again, it has differentiation here, but also the teacher could quickly differentiate. But my big thing is I want you to see that this is all embedded in a single 45-minute class period. And in a 45-minute block of time, the students are using the choice board built right in to what they are learning about. And it really just makes that learning authentic and it promotes that student ownership. So we went from a 1-day checklist where they rotated to a 1-day checklist or 2-day checklist where they were moving at their own pace to a 3-day checklist with built in a choice board that is differentiated, authentic products, and super rigorous. Whew. Sounds like a lot, right? So here we go. Choice boards are not random activities, enrichment menus for early finishers. That is not what they are. What choice boards are, in my world, to get to student ownership, are purposeful, student driven, and everybody gets to do it. The differentiation piece is key because my high flyers, I can go in and enrich them throughout their project. And my struggling students, I can go in and be like, hey, let's look at the rubric. What are the bare minimums that you need to do to be successful? Choice boards, gotta love them. All right, let's go in. Let's talk about choice board versus checklist. And I get these questions all the time. So I just showed you them, right? And these are my common, I'm doing kind of like a Q&A with you virtually. These are my common questions I get. What is the difference? Is one better than the other? Do I need both? So let's go through and talk about them. So here we go. Our part 3 of this is talking about what are checklists versus choice boards. Checklists help students with increased student ownership. So a checklist, if I give a student a checklist, they have the ability to know what they are going to be doing, and they're not relying on the teacher for the next steps. Choice boards increase engagement. You're going to go in and create something. You're going to go in to design something. A checklist has a variety of ways for the students to complete those activities. You could do this first or you could do this first. And I love this. It's a kindergarten checklist. So we use checklists all the way down to kindergarten, all the way up to college level. Crazy, right? Also, choice boards help to support differentiation. Remember where I had it with the point values or I had it where it's like, okay, you can do this with your rubric. Here's your basic one. You can differentiate by point values or pick 3 and you get to help the students with that. But again, offline, online, that's also a support. Checklists can be either online or paper. This is a big one. This is a big thing because sometimes everybody wants to live in a digital world, but sometimes students really still like paper checklist. So there's a paper checklist, but now he's showing you how he finds it right inside of Schoology. All right, choice boards allow for application of the standards. So we want to really make sure the students are doing the work because if I teach them something, show me you know it. And sometimes by just giving a quick assessment, it doesn't always give me a real true view of what the students know. But once they start to apply it, that visual thinking, visual learning comes to the forefront. Checklists allow for time for differentiated instruction with the teacher. So here we have a small group. And when she's pulling back her small group, she can differentiate while the rest of the students are working through their checklist. Choice boards build student ownership and agency. That's why we're calling it choice boards for student agency, right? So it really just allows them the choice and ability to take ownership of what they want to do. How would you like to complete this? What is it that you want to work on? Checklists allow for a variety of learning modalities. But if you remember my questions, do I need both? Is one better than the other? Now we know the differences. Let's go into looking at what it looks like in the classroom. This is a checklist with a choice board built right into it. So the students are working on a checklist. That little guy just got finished. He's going to go mark off what he did. She's able to find a space that works best for her. Here's the choice board. The students got to pick a choice and now they're doing a rough draft while the teacher is back here doing a small group. Wow. Pretty powerful, right? The classroom runs itself at this point in time because of the checklist and the choice board work together. All right, here we go. Why do they matter? The more ways you learn, the more you remember. This is a big key thing, and I tell my teachers all the time, if we stand up and do whole group instruction like I'm doing right now, yes, you're going to remember. You're going to remember I had on a sparkly jacket. You're going to remember I'm doing this video, but you're not going to remember the content. When we do a choice board and a checklist together, the students will actually remember. So inside of my book, the AI in the classroom, I go through and I talk about it, like the engagement piece, ownership, differentiation, creativity. And in here, I give you how AI can help you to build those choice boards and even checklists. But here's the thing, and how cool is this? I used AI to help me get this image. AI can help, but ownership matters. I know if you're attending ISTE virtually or on site right now, you're hearing a lot about AI tools, AI resources, prompts that you can use. I mean, AI is everywhere. Projects is what really helps to get to that ownership piece because AI can complete a worksheet, they can write a response, they can even create a product like I did with this image. But what AI cannot do is showcase your own voice and passion. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to show you again a couple other choice boards, and we're going to just walk through how to start small. To create a choice board, I give two choices: with a partner, always with a partner. Create a poster or go to Canva and create a poster. That's choice. Another choice board: pick one square to complete, but it's always with a partner. And I put up there at the top because with that authentic learning, create, collaborate, communicate, using critical thinking, and connect. So this is what it looks like. Again, who is your partner? Simple directions. You're going to build an infographic as choice one, record a video, or solve a real world problem using that strategy. Because I started out with two choices, poster on paper, poster online, I can eventually build up to 3 choices or then to 6 choices. This is really where the pick how many boxes and earn so many tickets really does come into play. And again, the choice boards don't live separately. They live right here, right inside the Future Ready studio. It's not something different. They live together. Choice boards a checklist. Let's do it. All right. It's time. It's time to build a choice board. So what we're going to do is you're going to log into Canva. You're going to search for choice board templates, but I'm going to walk you through it. So hang tight. Let's go to Canva. All right, welcome back. I'm on Canva. You can follow along because what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about different choice boards that are easily accessible that you can go in and find. So let's start out by just searching for different choice boards. So what I'm going to do is I want to go into templates over here to the side, and I'm just going to say choice boards, and I'm going to put US history. And I'm just going to see if I can find any templates that are out there for US history. Okay, here's one for projects. Oh, global citizenship. Oh, that one might be a good one. So I can open this up. And if I like the different ideas, like here we go. Okay, lunch table, kindness. All right, that's kind of good for the beginning of the year. If I like it, I could just go ahead, download it. But what I tell my teachers to do is I want you to go in and look at the choice boards to see what are the different choices. Like life and emojis, that's really funny. So maybe you don't use this whole entire choice board. Maybe what you do is you go in and use some of the examples. But inside of Canva, there are a bunch of different choices of choice boards. Now, this might not be at your level, but that's why it's important to go in, take a look at what you want, and or my favorite part is now Canva AI is going to really help me to come up with choice boards that matter. So I'm going to create. So I have down here, I could design an image, a document. I'm going to go ahead and hit design, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to show you the different activities. So we're going to design, and let's see what happens. The more information you give it, the better. There's even now where it will say what grade level, what are you teaching? So maybe it's thinking that I'm just doing a choice board for adults and I didn't give it enough information. That's why AI prompts are really helpful. So make sure you give enough information to help it to understand what you're doing. I have some over here already pre-made, so let me jump over to mine. Here is examples. I have one, I did a document where I just said, okay, beginning of the year math choice board, and this is what it created. So I'm like, ooh, I like this because I can actually send it to the students via Canva, and then they can go in and design and create. Ooh, this might be pretty cool. And it gave me an answer key. Okay, I like that one. Here's one that I love. Again, there's my roll of face, but I asked it to create a choice board, but it put it inside of a storyboard. So now what I'm thinking is I can have this as a choice board and put it up on my big screen, and the students together in their groups can go up and showcase their thinking right Canva. Oh, if you haven't used these yet, please go in and use them. They could go in, they could draw, they can write. So they pick one, and then the next group comes back and picks one, and then the next group. But the best thing is while you're doing small group, you can actually see the students working. So again, how did I get there? I went to Canva AI, And then I just started putting in some ideas about, I'm going to try to type one out for you again. Okay, here we go. So let's see what happens. And all right. Oh, cause and effect objectives. Ooh, I like it. It's giving me different choices here. Reading world application. Okay, so if you like it, you just click the box. Let's go ahead and generate it. And then it will generate the cause and effect World War II choice board. How easy is that? So Canva automatically has it so the students can write right inside of Canva. They can do it up on the board together, and or you can have it printed out and the students can go in and have that choice board built right inside their checklist. Here we go. Here's my little checklist choice board activity. Oh, wow. It actually created, here's my small group. Here's my reading independent practice. Here's my independent practice with key vocabulary words. And then my product. Whoa, right there's my checklist and my choice board all in one. Who knew? All right, bet done. What I want to talk about is bad versus good examples of choice boards. And here are some examples. So what I like about it, offline activities, standard focus, but really too wordy and no online choices. The next one, what I like about it, it's creative. It's various learning modalities, but too many choices, no online choices. And of course, I like that point value. Here's another one. Whoa, this could be so overwhelming for students, but wow, it's a great resource for teachers. Has leveled ideas, various learning modalities, too many choices for the students could be overwhelming. But if you really think about it as a teacher, you could pick and choose 2 or 3 to put right inside of that Future Ready studio. We're talking about systems and sustainability, our last thing that we're going to hit. Yes, you know, we have the AI book that gives you AI tools and resources to help you. And then also everything written out in system format, how to get started, how to grow, and how to get to that student ownership. So here we go. My biggest thing that I want you to take away is that this does not have to happen every day. It is where it fits. So if you look at this example that I give here, whole group is still important. I never take it away. But what I do now is I just grow my students through the systems and procedures from a 3 studio to a 4 studio, and then I start to add in choice. You are looking for professional development workshops, trainings. If you're looking for a keynote, you know I bring the energy. You can definitely contact me. I would love to be there to help support you. And also, thank you so much for attending Tech Checklist Choice Boards that build upon student agency. Have fun at ISTE. Thanks a lot.